What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Collider Interview Studio at Sundance 2024. I'm so happy to be sitting with the team behind Ghostlight. Your movie blew me away. I genuinely mean that. I'm obsessed with the idea that I find it easier to process difficult human truths through storytelling. And that's literally what your movie is. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before I ask you a bajillion questions about the making of this movie, I need to give a special shout out to Filmio, our wonderful sponsor who allows us to be here and support independent filmmaking. They are breaking barriers by putting the power to greenlight movies in the hands of fans and creators. If you want to learn more about Filmio, please check out their website, film.io. Can you repeat that? Can you do the intro?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Welcome back to Film.io. Today we have a very special meeting. Filmio! Welcome back to Filmio. I'm Katherine Kupferer, your host for the day. And we have a very special meeting with the Ghostlight cast. We would like to give a special shout out as they are breaking barriers in the film community.
Really good.
Can we keep you here? Can you just do
was
that
amazing.
for every interview? I'm going to
Wow.
cut that out of the footage and just put it at the head of every single interview we do the rest of the day.
We would love that.
I was very impressed.
All right, Kelly, I have to give you the hardest question. It's the synopsis question because a lot of people out there are going to first learn about your film through the festival. So in case someone out there does not know what Ghostlight is about, can you give a brief description?
Yeah, it's about a construction worker who joins a community theater production of Romeo and Juliet, and sort of the drama on stage begins to mirror his real life.
Job well done.
Very good.
Ba-ding.
You were very prepared.
Thank
I
you.
always love
That
when
was our
someone has
log
like a
line.
distinct, clear pitch
Yeah,
for
it took us a while to come up with
Yeah, a lot of
it.
texting.
A lot of texting, and that was the winner.
Yeah.
A question for both of you now, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but I'm curious what it was like figuring out what roles you would assume on this film, because on the last one, Alex, you directed, and Kelly, you wrote and starred in it, so why switch things up a little bit here?
I knew that I wanted to direct with Alex. That was something that, because even on St. Francis, our collaboration kind of wasn't as clean cut as just like director and actor. We're super collaborative in the way that we work. And I knew that I didn't want to act in this one, that I just wanted to write and that I wanted to direct as well. And Alex is a really amazing director and producer. And so I really wanted to work with him.
Yeah.
Is there any new tool in your directing toolkit by having experienced co-directing with someone?
Oh, certainly. I think I thought that I had an assumption that probably most people do, which is that if you're co-directing, you're sort of breaking things up. And, you know, between the two of you, you've got one director. But really, we became quite unified. And so it was essentially like having 200% of directing. And I think new toolkit...
What'd you learn? Anything?
I guess I have to talk to actors now, right? But it's fun. I learned. No. I think I think just sitting back, letting things play out. You know, trust, all things that have always been there. But I think working with another person kind of takes you out of your ego, even more so. Which leads to great work, I think. So.
One more question for the two of you before I throw it to your wonderful ensemble here. I'm always fascinated to hear about the experience of getting a green light on your second feature after a successful first feature, because I feel like a lot of people out there might assume like once you make one good one, it's easy, when that is not necessarily the case. What is a misconception about what it takes to get a second film off the ground?
Just that it's easy and that you can, we had a lot of critical success with St. Francis, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the money starts rolling in.
Yeah. You really just shouldn't wait for anybody. Like, don't wait for anybody, because nobody's coming for you. And we raised all the money ourselves. So we essentially greenlit ourselves. And that was nice.
And this was supposed to be our third feature. There was a second one that we'd been trying to make ever since St. Francis with, a bigger budget, and it took a long time, and then the strike happened, and we pivoted and were able to move to this one, which is supposed to be our third, which is much scrappier than what our second was supposed to be.
Do you have high hopes to circle back to that other one? It's
for sure.
Mouse?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I did my homework.
Good work.
Yeah, because I knew I was going to want to see more from you after I watched
cool.
this. So
Thank you. Yeah,
I hope
hopefully that one will
happens
get made eventually.
ASAP.
Yeah.
All right. I love the idea of filmmaking families just in general. The fact that you're a literal family is blowing my mind right now. I want to ask a question that was deemed kind of like a no-no question in the movie. Can you each give me a unique technique you use to learn your lines?
That's going to be hard for my mom because that takes her a while to learn her lines.
Wow.
Thrown under the bus.
That really wasn't the question.
Wow.
That was just context.
I have somewhat of a photographic memory, so I just look at them and they stay in my head.
It's true. It's the most annoying thing ever. When he runs lines with us, he learns them within like 30 seconds, your lines. And then when you ask for call line, he's like, how do you not know this? And makes you want to punch him in the face. Yeah. Truly.
And she does punch me in the
I
face
do.
several times.
Sometimes
That's why
I have
look
to.
this way.
Oh, my God.
This was a beautiful script, and so the lines came really easily. A lot of folks have asked us along the journey of Sundance if we improvised a lot, and the truth is we didn't. No. Because the text that Kelly provided was always right there for us, and it came very easily. For me personally, it came very easily, and when you ground yourself in the circumstance of the story, the words were just right there for you. So it was seamless. And all we had to do every day was show up, and it just worked.
That's one of the highest compliments ever, when someone assumes you improvise, because it's so damn natural.
Yeah. They made the words sound good. There are some clunker lines in there that they just sold really well.
How about for you, Katherine? Give me a tip or trick you use.
Well, I get, like, if I'm trying to memorize multiple scenes, that's harder for me. So I would try to, like, memorize one, and then once we shot that one, I would go on and memorize the next scene, so that I wasn't, like, having to think about multiple, two different, like, scenes, two different lines.
Yeah.
One moment at a time.
Yeah.
One moment at a time.
And you
she
had to do
did
Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did prep the Shakespeare.
I prepped Shakespeare because I do have some Shakespeare monologues in it, and I started doing that before we started filming, so that I was kind of ahead on that part.
Very much appreciate
Yeah.
the one scene at a time approach, because like even prepping for interviews at Sundance, I'm like, one day at a time, one day at a time, and appreciate the moment. I want to ask a personal question for all of you based on what you're exploring in this movie. I already brought up the idea that, part of the reason why I love movies and just storytelling in general is because sometimes I find it easier to process things I'm going through via a fictional story on screen. So for each of you, can you name a movie that you came across that, I don't know, came into your life just when you needed it and really helped you through something?
I could say I got broken up with in New York a long time ago, and I remember walking into an art house theater and seeing like a 2 p.m. screening of Sofia Coppola's Somewhere, and like no one was in there except for like 2 or 3 retirees, and I just like bawled, and it was exactly what I needed, and I felt so alone, and I came out feeling kind of quietly a little less so, and that was a great movie moment for me. I'll never forget that.
I think I could probably picture you at like the Quad or something sitting there.
I think it was. I think
I think I saw it there too.
There's like bad seats in this theater. Like there's columns, so like you could have a bad seat, which is unusual for a movie theater.
Really?
To get on the Sofia Coppola train, Lost in Translation was that for me. I think I saw it in college when I was feeling very adrift, and I felt very just in line with Scarlett Johansson's character, and in terms of her kind of like loneliness and trying to find her way in a world that she didn't really understand.
Good examples right there.
Katherine.
Has to be a Sofia Coppola.
That's right.
Let's talk about something you love.
The couple movies that I love, I think Stand By Me is one of my favorite movies.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
I really love that one. I think I like it a lot because of the group of kids and they're like, and how they become so much closer with each other as the movie takes place. I really do love that movie, and I love River Phoenix too. So that's another reason I watched that one.
Mildly disturbing.
But yes, I think that's really, really, and I never read the Stephen King book or the short story.
Highly recommend.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and read that one soon. But I watched Stand By Me like a I've rewatched it
Such
probably
a
like
good
15
choice.
times. Yeah.
Just to add to that, you also made another movie that is having that effect on tons of people
That's
out there.
another one. Yeah.
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I have been so happy to see all the award season love
I know, it's
that
doing
movie
so
is
well
getting.
right now.
As it should. As it should.
Yeah, and Kelly Freeman Craig is doing really, really well, and that's really well deserved. I think that she was an amazing director and writer, and so I'm really excited to see everyone doing so well. Yeah.
Well, she just said mine.
That makes me so happy.
The Judy Blume book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, was a really pivotal moment for me when I read it in third grade, and I felt like it really prepared me in such a beautiful way for what was coming. And then I went on, of course, to read all of Judy Blume's books. And when we were on set, making the movie, I had the opportunity to meet Judy Blume. And of course, as I was walking towards her, I just started bawling. And she held my hands and said, "Don't worry, it happens to all the ladies your age." And then when we saw the movie, we went to the premiere this past spring. And I remember reading the screenplay and being very disappointed that Rachel McAdams' character was given so much space in the film because it wasn't just focused on Margaret. And I loved her bringing in the generations into the film. And I loved what Rachel McAdams brought to it and how I could see my own journey as a mom in the film. And Judy Blume said very clearly that day at the premiere that she couldn't believe it, but she felt the movie was better than the book. Oh. And I have to agree.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
it came at a moment in our lives during the pandemic when everyone was so isolated, when we got to be in.
It was really great because, especially for me, I was like in my apartment with my parents, and then when we flew to North Carolina to film, I'm with all those kids and stuff, and so that was really great because we got to hang out with.
Be together and be in community and make a story that had such huge impact. Yeah.
Well, of course, that movie was very special in our lives. But I think if the thing that the films that had an impact on me were many, but the ones that when I was younger that I watched that had a different impact on me were John Cassavetes films like Husbands, Woman Under the Influence, just the way he decided that it wasn't about the beautiful camera shot, it was about the people in front of the camera, and it didn't matter if the camera was in focus or if it had film in it, they were going to do it anyway. And there's an aspect of Alex and Kelly like that, the way they are more interested in what's going on with the actors and not worrying about, the perfect framing or the perfect shot or the more cinematic, beautiful shots. Not that I haven't seen the film yet, so
Beauty's cheap, Keith.
I don't know what the framings are, but
there's a lot of beautiful shots in the film.
I assume that, but the techniques that Cassavetes used that I think also are echoed in their work is what I really responded to.
All good examples right there. Yeah. And I have a feeling that Ghostlight is going to have that impact on a lot of people when they start to discover it at the festival and then beyond. To get into some specific moments from filming this movie, you've already emphasized wonderful script right here, but I love hearing about the unexpected magic that you can find on the spot. So can you maybe pinpoint the scene that changed the most from script to screen, where something came up in the moment and you held tight to it and ran with it?
There's a lot of that. I can't.
There's a scene that's not in the movie that's like that. That was edited out.
The original cut was 2 hours and 15 minutes, and we had to lose 20 minutes, and we had to lose this beautiful scene where, I don't even want to get into it, but a piece of magic happened, and we wanted to, for a long time, we tried to preserve it and ultimately had to lose it. But there were lots of little moments here and there where an actor would start to do something, like especially the family, we would just hear them on our headphones, sort of like talking to each other, arguing, laughing. And we would say, like, can you just do that again? And so a lot of capturing their dynamic as a family was part of that. And I think you gave Katherine the line about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. There's an alt about River Phoenix, of course.
That's right.
But yeah, the dinner table scene. I don't know if you remember where Katherine grabs a champagne bottle. That was the first scene that we heard how powerful the character of Daisy might actually be. And I remember just spontaneously crying when you give that final line in that scene. And I looked at Kelly and I was like, we have to change the way we're thinking about this. So like the movie that was initially just like, it's just Dan, suddenly became so much more in the way we shot it about Dan and Daisy, about this father and daughter, because of the power and the humor that Katherine brought to it. It just kind of like justified opening up this whole, costume chest of possibilities.
There was a scene where they're getting ready for the deposition where there was originally no scripted lines. And then Tara and Keith were like, oh, I would shave for this deposition. Like you were like, I would shave for this. And we were like, well, continuity wise, we can't do that. So they improvised these lines about like, aren't you going to shave? And he was like, well, I forgot, shit. And then you were like, we don't have time. And then Keith was like, well, why'd you bring it up? That it was just like perfect. And that has a
real life.
Yeah, there were moments that weren't scripted that felt like they were so natural and their dynamic was so rich that we were able to just be like, okay, just turn the camera on.
We kind of created like a little engine, like with that scene. It was like Catherine's in the other room, and she's
like,
saying,
"We're
come
always
on,
late."
come on, come on. And just, that was like the impetus. And it's like, okay, explore that. And then these two have to get ready. And so there's certain things they have to do. So it's funny, actually, guys.
Yeah.
You did improvise quite a bit.
We did. Now that you mention it.
Actually.
Entire scenes.
Also, when it comes to deleted scenes, I know it's hard to let them go, but I'm also a big believer that those deleted scenes, you could still feel influencing everything that does make the finished cut. So there is great value in them.
Oh, absolutely.
100%. Yeah, the scene that we had to cut, Sharon tells us a lot about their relationship, that they met when they were really young, and not to make any choices when you're young because you can't even grasp consequences. And
That's right. We lose all my backstory.
I know. But here's the great thing about your acting. We don't need it.
Yep, there you go.
It's true, though.
No backstory.
You feel the history and the weight, and that's what's important ultimately in the end.
Right.
For the three of you, again, family, I know you're all well aware of how talented each other are, but can you each tell me about a time on set when you looked at another and said to yourself, like, I knew you were good, but like, I didn't realize you were capable of doing that?
Because I know if I let my mom go, she's gonna steal my answer. So I think for my dad, during the deposition scene, during his big part, I think that was, I've never seen my dad do stuff like that. It's usually like I'll see him in plays and stuff, and he never really gets like that. He never lets that emotional, it's usually either anger or comedy with. So I thought that
real life too.
Yes, in real life too.
Many phases
So
of
that
Keith
was
Kupferer.
really impressive.
Just two.
Yeah. But I really loved that moment. Yeah.
Great example.
I met Keith in college when we were 19, and he was doing a production of the Jack Nicholson play,
Cuckoo's Nest?
Cuckoo's Nest, and he came out and I got dragged to it, and I was like, this is going to be terrible. It's a 2-year cut. It was a bad production, but Keith came out on stage, and I was like, who's that guy? And he's going to be mine. And then I took 6 years to make him fall in love with me.
Where's this going?
It's going in the direction that he's always been my favorite actor. And every time I see him on stage or on camera, I fall in love with him. And it makes me not, divorce him. And so I expected him to be as wonderful as he is in this. I love working with him. He's my favorite scene partner. We've done a lot of plays together. And so I I anticipated that the whole way through. And I was so excited for Keith to get to show all of the gifts that he has, that I know he has. And so that was really exciting. But to see Katherine bring the depth that she brings to this film, and to not just play anger or to not just be loud. And as the film progressed towards the end of filming, to play somebody so complicated and empathetic, was really moving and exciting. And I'm incredibly proud of her.
Keith, how are you going to follow that
Beautiful
up?
answer, as you should be.
I don't know how to follow anything.
Understandable.
I would say that I am also proud of my daughter. The thing that I like about her performance is that she would have these impulses, and she'd do something, and sometimes the camera's rolling, and if it wasn't, I'd say, when the camera's rolling, do that again, because that's honest, and it's not the normal behavior, but it's not outlandish or out of character. So that's what I always look for. And that's the most interesting stuff to do as an actor, is to surprise yourself and surprise the audience, hopefully. And so that was really fun to watch. And Tara's also, what she said about being in a scene with me is the same. I trust her implicitly, and there's nothing that she can do to throw me off, or anything she does just makes me better as an actor. It makes anybody that acts with her better. So, yeah.
You're all the coolest. This
I
makes
know,
me
they
so
really
happy.
are. And this is the way they are. Like, this is not, they are this amazing.
Like, truly fills my heart.
I know.
I'm going to end with our Filmio question. I quite love this question. As I brought up earlier, they're all about putting the creative power in the hands of the artist. So whether it's on this movie or anything you've done in the past, can you give me an example of a time when someone gave you the creative power, and maybe it was a time when you didn't even expect to get it?
Alex Thompson producing St. Francis. Because I never would have had that movie made by anybody else. And he was like, I don't think I would have finished the script without him, because he read like the first 10 pages and he was like, you got to finish this and I'll find the money and we'll make it.
Was a beautiful example too.
I think, and I'm not just saying this, but Kelly could do anything. She can do anything. She can do it by herself. She doesn't need me. And maybe I'm better at raising money, but all the other stuff, she could do it. But she continues to ask me to work with her. And it's almost like in the 15-year-old or 8-year-old who always wanted to be a director is just so grateful that this is the person that I fell in with, because she could be like off doing her own thing.
Nobody's
and she's
calling.
chosen to. Well, that's true, but
They will.
But they will.
Yes.
And I think in Ghostlight specifically, so we were going to co-direct Mouse, and then Ghostlight was going to be her solo thing. And I read the script for Ghostlight, and I read the principal's office scene, and it was like the Bloodhound scene, which was the first scene I read in St. Francis, and I was like, fuck, this is just good. It's just good, and I don't know where it's going, and I'm sure none of these themes are going to be revisited, but this scene is so good. And I just kind of at first really soft begged, and then eventually just straight up was like, please, please, please let me co-direct this with you. And you eventually said yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
Yeah. So my name is on the movie, which is the proudest thing.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
You should.
Love these people.
You haven't seen it, Keith.
I know, but
Yeah, what are you proud of? Just proud of yourself. Proud you made your days. Yeah, that call sheet was real nice.
I was standing in the garage of my theater company in Chicago, loaning a bunch of props to these guys for the Shakespeare stuff, and they said, "Well, you're gonna be in the film, right?" And I was like, "Oh." And they said, Kelly said, have you read it? And I said, no. Keith had it for months. And she said, has Keith told you about it? And I said, not really. And then she said, well, I'll send it to you. If you want to do it, we want you to do it. And then I read it, and I was so blown away that I had and then 2 weeks later, we started filming. 2 weeks later. And for me to have been offered a role in this, just offered a role in this, Alex had never met me.
You got a great reel.
Thank God.
That contagion scene is excellent.
But I was just, and from the moment we set foot on it, we were offered the opportunity to create these people ourselves. We were offered the opportunity to talk to Kelly and Alex as partners in crafting our arcs and our journeys. We clothed ourselves.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, we did not have wardrobe or hair and makeup.
But I mean, we were partners on this entire journey, and I have never been a part of something where I felt that much ownership over the role that I was crafting. So I would have to say Ghostlight.
Yeah, I would say Ghostlight too, because unbeknownst to me, Kelly had written the role for me, and then when it was.
He knew that.
You didn't know while I was writing.
I didn't know it the first time I read it in the table read, I would never have had this opportunity to be a lead in any movie. Nobody would ever do that for me, and so that was it was unreal. And it was a 1 in a million chance, and I'm so grateful for both of them. And seriously, they have one of the best sets I've ever worked on. And because I've only worked as a hired hand, and if you say something out of line, they bounce you. But it was great. Everybody was great.
It's trickled down.
Right, Luke and Wilson, everybody.
Alex never loses his cool. Things would go wrong, and he would smile and say, "We'll figure it out.
Yep.
We'll figure it out."
Always go wrong.
The gunshots and hiding in the
my
basement.
God.
Kelly got COVID.
There was a shooting down the street. We had to hide in the basement.
All
That's
sorts
all
of
vegan, though. What can you say?
Shh, Catherine, sorry.
And also,
sorry about that.
You shot this movie in October,
Yes.
and it's here at
I
Sundance
know.
in January.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Like, my brain cannot process how that's possible.
We don't really know. I mean, it's our editors.
Yeah, we cut while we film. And so 4 days after we wrapped, we had a rough cut. We even forgot a scene and had to go shoot it on Halloween.
Yeah,
sure did.
Catherine came up dressed, or not, you weren't dressed like Dorothy,
wasn't
but
dressed
you
yet.
eventually were
Wizard of
dressed
Oz.
like Dorothy.
Yeah.
It was wild. But really, I hope that some of the filmmakers here at Sundance, some of the amazing filmmakers here, see these guys on screen and start calling them, because they will fill up any, they fit in any fantastic director's work, and I hope they start getting those calls, because they're amazing.
I will 100% get behind that statement. Before I close out, Catherine, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would have to say Ghostlight too, because I think on Margaret, I was there for only 2 months, and I think even though this was obviously a shorter film, I was there the whole time. But you're laughing, but that's not funny, because so I don't know why you're laughing, because it was a really long shoot.
Yeah.
It was like a 6-month shoot, and so we were only there for a part of it. So being here for the whole thing.
It's a 3-month shoot.
No, it wasn't.
All right.
They took a hiatus, and then they came back for 2 more months.
This is when we would start rolling the cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good you're getting this. It's good
But
you're getting
anyway, I think being there and I don't know if either of my parents said this, but you could ask Luke, who's the cameraman, or the
Cinematographer.
cinematographer, and or Austin, who was the sound mixer. You could ask them about oh, what are you doing right now, and they would just tell you, So it was really learning how to make a movie, and I think that was something that you don't really ever experience, and I think that was super special. So yeah.
I won't keep you all here all day. Just stay here. I have to let you go and promote your movie even more, because seriously, this deserves to be seen by the widest possible audience. Huge congratulations on Ghostlight.
Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much.
Yep.